everybody, welcome back to Think Outside the Board and the latest edition of the Crowdfunding Roundup. I actually skipped last week because of the holidays, and prior to the holidays I had a COVID booster which left me not feeling well for a couple of days. So as soon as I was feeling better, we were about 3 days before Christmas, and I was just too busy to try to get a video done at that time. So what I'm doing this week is combining last week's video with this week. And even though I'm doing that, this is still going to be a very short video featuring only 2 campaigns because there was nothing that came out during Christmas week that I feel like is worth passing along to you. That means that this week's video will cover all of the campaigns launched between December the 13th and the 26th that I think are worthy of passing along to you. And again, that's just 2 campaigns. Now, as for next week's video, I may be in a similar situation because we're in this holiday season right now where not a lot of campaigns are being launched. So it's very likely that over the next few weeks, I will from time to time be skipping a week if nothing launches, in which case just tune back in the following week, and if there's something worth talking about that week, there'll be a new video. I imagine that this video series will be back to its regular Friday releases by the end of January. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That is still the best way to support this channel at this time. And let's get going with the first of our 2 campaigns. Now, this is for a game called Fief England, Alliances, Treachery, and Power. This campaign launched on December the 15th, and it's going to run until, if we flip over this little card here, January the 7th. So you have until that point in time to back this campaign. And this one's on Gamefound. Our other campaign will be on Kickstarter, but this one is on Gamefound. Now, as we look here, we can see that so far they have $184,000 in funding. They've got a 12-time multiplier because that was off of a $15,000 funding goal, which makes this the campaign with the biggest funding amount and the highest multiplier of the video. What else can I tell you about this? Well, there's a series of Fief games. They were all designed by the same designer. His name is Philippe Mouchebouf. The original Fief game was published in 1981. It had a sequel, Fief 2, in 1989. And then the series kind of got a restart in 2011 when they published just Fief. So it was a redesign and a reprinting of the original Fief game. Then in 2015, they put out Fief France 1429, and in 2021, they followed that with just Fief France Edition. So if we go over here, we can look at Fief France 1429, and this has a 7.5 score, which is pretty good, and a complexity rating of 3.81, which would definitely put it in the heavy range of complexity. This is a semi-cooperative territory building game. It is an economic game. It has negotiation and area majority. Now, the artist on this is Melon Carr. This appears to be their first published game, and it's put out by Academy Games, who have previously published 1775 Rebellion, Freedom, the Underground Railroad, and Mare Nostrum Empires. We're going to take a look at the video here. It's about a 4-minute video, so it's on the longer side, but this is a short video overall, so I think we have the room for it. And then we'll come back and look at the 2 pledges that are available for you currently.
England, a kingdom for taking across the sea. My name is Matilde, and my Norman family dreamed of ruling England's fertile and rich lands, despite its Anglo-Saxon inhabitants. And so it is today, as I, its queen, rule England. Here's my family's story. My grandfather invaded England with his lord, William the Conqueror. For this, he was granted the eastern coastal fiefdom of Lincoln, which to this day is still my family's seat of power. We soon made Lincoln prosper, building mills, constructing castles, and gaining the loyalty of our people. As we expanded into neighboring cities, our men-at-arms were welcomed by the locals for their protection. But we also began to encounter other powerful families. Once we controlled all of the cities in our fiefdom, the king recognized our growing power and granted our family the title of Count, which was bestowed upon my brother Thomas. This title gained us the admiration of courtiers who flocked to our service. My cousin, the Lady Margaret, became the Abbess of the Autumn, which my uncle had founded. The continuing rise of our family led me to be presented to King Hugh's son, Lord Edward, the Prince of Wales. Our wedding in London was grandiose, especially when the relics of St. Caradoc were presented as a dowry by my father. But then, disaster struck our island. King Hugh and many others were taken by the Black Death Plague. I am distraught that he did not have my apothecary Geoffroy at his service, who could have saved him. Now his son, my husband Edward, is king. Long live King Edward! To raise much-needed revenues, my Lord King husband presented new taxes to be enacted, but other noble houses voted against these. Without additional income sources, the king could not raise new royal troops, or build royal castles, or support the other noble families. After the House of Lords' defiance against their king, my valiant husband had to go forth to repel one of the many Norse invasions that continued to terrorize our lands. Outnumbered, he still defeated the pagan invaders in a glorious battle, but then died of the wounds he had suffered. I am now a widow, and with the support of my patrons and allies, including the powerful Archbishop of York, I was elected Sovereign Queen. I now rule England, ready to face new challenges and to continue to expand my family's influence and powers. What do I hear? You and your fellow conspirators dare to oppose my godly right to rule? Beware, because my family's wrath runs deep.
All right. So that's your look at Fief England. Now, they had three different pledges that were available originally, but one of them was this early bird, which was the same price as the deluxe edition. The only difference is that it threw in a set of metal coins, which are priced in the add-ons at $25. So if you pledged early, you were getting this $25 metal coin set for free. Now, since that's ended, all you can pledge is the deluxe edition, which does not have the metal coins. It just has the base game and the unlocked expansion stretch goals. So this is a $75 pledge. I usually give shipping totals in my videos, but I give them for the continental US. So if you're elsewhere, you'll need to figure out what the shipping is for your area. In the continental US, shipping on this is $16, which will raise the total price to about $91. Now there is one other pledge, which is the King's All-In with free medieval coin set. This is the same coin set they were including in this pledge. This is a $170 pledge because you're getting three additional things from the deluxe edition. You're getting the metal coins, you're getting the miniature buildings, and you're getting a giant map. Now, in the continental US, there's $26 shipping on this, which brings the total price from $170 to $196. But those are the two pledges that you have available to you. There are some add-ons. If we go down here, it's the 3 items that are in the all-in. So if you want just one or some of these, you could add these to the deluxe pledge. But you've got the metal coins for $25. You've got the miniature buildings for $40, and you've got the giant map for $55. Not included in any of the pledges is an extra set of these wooden dice for $5. So if you want this, you're going to have to add this on no matter your pledge. If you look closely, though, this is $40 and $55, so this is a $95 total. And if we go up here, this is a $75 pledge. If we add $95 onto that, that would be $170, which is the same price as the King's All-In. Now, that's why that they're saying that you're getting a free medieval coin set, because you're basically paying for these 2 add-ons and then getting this one for free in that pledge. Fief England is shooting to deliver in July of 2024. And that brings us to our only Kickstarter recommendation for this period, which is Votes for Women second printing. This was a December the 17th launch, and this campaign is going to run for quite a while. It's actually going to run until January 25th. We can see that they had a $5,000 funding goal. They've got $41,000 pledged right now, which is over an 8-time multiplier. So this is fairly healthfully funded. And it is a second printing. So we can go back over here to Board Game Geek. We can look at, the original printing and see what people thought of it. So it has a 7.9 on Board Game Geek, which is a pretty darn good score. And the weight is listed at 2.37. Now, normally I say that anything that's over a 2.0 is a medium light game, and anything that's over a 2.55 is a medium heavy game. So this would then put this in the medium light range, but a little bit closer to the medium heavy side of the medium light range than the light side. And Votes for Women is kind of in the vein of Watergate or 1960, The Making of a President. It does list the player count at 1 to 4 players, so you can play it solo and you can play it at 4 players. But it seems like from the chatter about the game that people seem to prefer it at 2 players, as listed here, for that head-to-head experience, which you're going to find in those other games I mentioned. Normally, in these games, which I think take a lot from war games, having that kind of head-to-head 2-player, push and pull, tug-of-war struggle is really where the gameplay is at. Now, Votes for Women is designed by Tori Brown, and this is her first published game, but she actually cites 1960, The Making of the President as a big inspiration for her. So she wanted to take another historical event, which is the battle for women to be allowed to vote, the suffragette movement, and she wanted to use kind of 1960, The Making of a President as a template for this other historical event. There are 2 artists on this game, Bridget Indelicato, who's worked on a lot of games, is probably best known for Art Deco, Bloomtown, Mechanical Beast, Ponzi Scheme, and War Chest. And then Mark Rodriguez, who's best known for Bayonets and Tomahawks and The Shores of Tripoli. It's being published by Fort Circle Games, who also published The Shores of Tripoli. And as I kind of hinted at earlier, it's got different game modes. You can play it competitively, you can play it cooperatively, you can play it solo, but it does seem to shine at that 2-player head-to-head competitive count. And mechanics-wise, it's primarily a hand management and area majority game. So we're going to go back over here to the campaign. There's no video at the top. There's only 1 pledge here, unless you're getting multiple copies, and that is 1 vote, or 1 copy for Votes of Women. If we scroll down here further, you can see the other pledges are just for multiple copies. Now, in the US, you're going to have free shipping with this, so you still will only be pledging $75. If you are anywhere else in the world, you're going to have a flat $15 shipping fee, which means your total will be $90. And then finally, they're planning on delivering this. Well, it says March 20 to 24 here, But down at the bottom of the page, they talk about a range for delivery, March to April. And I always take the latest date that publishers give us. I think it's best to just estimate the worst case scenario and not be surprised than to rather take their best case scenario, which is in the world of, crowdfunding board game delivery, the best case scenario usually doesn't happen. So I think people are just generally happier if they take the worst case scenario and go with that. I mean, it still could be delayed beyond that because it's not unusual for crowdfunding board games to have about a 6-month delay currently. So I think even if they hit their April 2024 end of their window, that still would be fantastic. So we're just going to say April 2024 delivery. So that wraps the 2 campaigns for the video. At the end of the video, I usually talk about 2 things. I let people know what I'm already going to be including in the following week's video. And because we're in the holiday season, there's not a lot launching. There's nothing that's really been announced. I don't know anything that's coming in the next week that I will want to include. I think there's a game called Carolingi that's coming on January 4th, but I believe that's outside of the window of the next 7 days. So if I don't end up doing a video next week because there's just nothing that launched, check back the following week on that Friday, which would be January 12th, because the 4th, the date that I think Carolingi is going to launch, is actually on a Thursday. So it's kind of 2 days after the period that would be covered in next Friday's video. But Carolingi would be in the following week's video, which probably will be posted on January 12th. So if I do not put out a video next week, January 5th, it's very likely there will be one on the 12th, and Carolingi at least will be featured in that. Also, at the end of these videos, I like to talk about games that are new to my collection this period, and the reason for that is because I'm going to be relaunching teach and review videos and live streaming games very, very soon. So this is the opportunity for my audience out there to let me know if any of these games are games that you'd like to see live streamed or you'd like me to make teach and review videos for. Kokopelli with expansion 1. Stefan Feld's one of my favorite designers, and I was backing Marrakesh, Camels, and Nomads. That also came this period. That is an expansion to Marrakesh, and I decided to add on Kokopelli and Kokopelli's expansion to that. Kokopelli is a different kind of game for Stefan Feld. He tends to do these big point salad games, but Kokopelli is a lighter game with lots of card play. It didn't do that well on crowdfunding the first time around, which is why I wanted to pick it up when I did, because it probably will go out of print at some point. I don't think it did well enough to merit more expansions, and I'm not sure what Queen Games' plan is on keeping that in print. But I've heard really good things about it, and I like games that feature card play as a central mechanism, and I think it's a game that's going to appeal to my wife, Kristen, so I picked that up along with Marrakesh, Camels, and Nomads, which is also new to my collection this period, which is an expansion to Marrakesh, which I still need to get to the table. Then I also received Three Tail, which is a game designed really for 3 players. You don't see that ideal player count of 3 players. It can play lower than 3, but it's really designed for 3 players. And it's a sort of a semi-cooperative story-based game. Kind of like in the same realm as like the Destinies games and the upcoming Divinus and the Dark Quarter. So I'm really excited to get Three Tail to the table. That seems like something that would really be served by being live streamed, and something that people who aren't buying the game on their own and aren't going to play it on their own could experience as a viewer to kind of see that gameplay, that story, and have that story experience without having to buy the games themselves. And then the final addition to my collection this period is Unsettled, all new board game content. Unsettled is probably in my top 10 games of all time right now. I think it is an amazing cooperative exploration puzzle solving game, and Orange Nebula about a year or two ago now, went back and made 3 more planets. Each planet has 3 missions and features kind of mechanics and themes that are unique to that planet. So they did 3 more planet boxes. I think now they've got a total of 9 different planet boxes, each with 3 missions. And they did 2 of these kind of modules that you can put into any game, and a few other extras. So I'm really loving Unsettled, and I would be extremely happy to just live stream all of the planets, all of the missions. So if any of these games are games you want to have a teacher review video made for, or you'd like to see live streamed, let me know. Both of those types of content are coming very soon to this channel. I hope you're having a great holiday season and you're playing lots of great games. Have a great New Year's, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.